Hit the button and I'm recording. Hello, everyone. This is episode 2 of Reef to Reef Live with me, Ed Weiser, and
Todd Lockman, TJ's Reef.
That's right. And today we're going to be talking about Glenn F. or Glenn Fong and his DSR calculator that I had a chance a few months ago to record how you actually use the calculator on your keyboard. And Todd has been using a similar method for a few years. I want to let him fill you in on how he's done his system. And take it away, Todd.
All right. Well, if you're not familiar with the DSR, it's Dutch synthetic reef keeping. It basically, in a nutshell, it is replacing depleted or used up elements and minerals, trace elements in our aquariums. Instead of doing weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, whatever water changes on a regular basis to export nutrients into import added materials. The whole system setup is to test your water or your system's water often enough over a short period of time to figure out what your usage rate is, and then you're just replacing it. Mine's more simplified than what Glenn was, and I was testing for about 6 elements. But my system, 175-ish gallons. I've done about 10 30-gallon water changes in 4 years. So that's kind of been my very similar goal and similar system what Glenn has started. And I was excited when Glenn first came on Reef to Reef and shared his knowledge with his immense and get to see this system in all its glory. And it truly is. It's been a theory of mine for many years that the old tank syndromes where you're doing multiple water changes and you're adding chemicals or elements or minerals that are not used up by the corals or fish, and at some point it builds up to toxic level potential. So it's been a theory of mine. Glenn seemed to take it many steps further than what I did. So very happy and excited to see Glenn come on here and give us the show.
Right. I had been following Glenn on the Dutch aquarium forums for a while, and also on the UK Ultimate Reef forum. He has very good threads on there about his system, and he also has a DSR forum just for people to ask questions on DSR. He is one of those kind of people that's just totally into the hobby. I mean, when you either talk to him in PMN or on Facebook, I've talked to him many times on PMs on Facebook, and he really does. He's a very passionate person, and really, it's so little about the money. Everybody thinks it's something about the money, like he's going to make a fortune. He got forced into selling the products because people were trying to take
the demand.
Yeah, well, they were trying to take his ideas and make their own money out of it, kind of thing. So he was just a hobbyist like us, and he got really serious about chemistry of the water, and I think he's done a really great job, and it's a very wonderful thing to look forward. As I always call it, it's forward thinking. He's thinking forward beyond just a basic calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. He's thinking about all the elements that the corals take out of the water on a regular basis. We don't really even think of that in a lot of ways. We say we want to do a water change, but like you said, there's many things that we're adding in that the corals aren't even using. And how you're taking that back out when you do a 10% water change in a week, as some people try to do. And that's why I was so excited when a few years ago when I started reading his threads on the Dutch forums that, wow, this guy's got a very interesting idea about how to learn about the chemistry of your tank and what your tank is actually doing, what is my tank? Why do I need to do 10%? Should I do 50? I mean, you get these questions, people, oh, you should do 10. I should do 20, who
Well,
knows?
I think part of the success too is we preach in the hobby to keep things stable, or to don't do any drastic changes. But yet every time we do a big water change, that's exactly what we're doing.
Right.
It also just shows one other way that you can be successful is obviously people have been successful for years or decades doing water changes. So
Right.
this is not a do water changes or don't, right or wrong. It's do water changes or try this approach in a different aspect.
Right.
Whether it saves money, it does to a degree. I'm certainly run a lot less RODI, waste a lot less water with this approach. Although I still am doing the top off evaporating.
Right. I mean, I don't look at it as a money thing. I look at, like I said in the first episode, I'm always interested in new ideas and new ways of keeping a tank. And there's a million different ways of keeping a tank. And this is one that I'm fascinated with and think it has some good, if you look at it, there's some good ideas in there that you may be able to take and use on your own aquarium, and but you have to be open-minded. And a lot of people can be open-minded and some can't. They
Well,
want to go through.
it takes a more hands-on approach this
Right.
way. Obviously, doing a 20 or 30% water change once a month, or doing a 10% once a week system's a pretty easy way to maintain somewhat stable water chemistry. Whether with the DSR or the Triton method, you're testing for multiple elements and chemicals and replenishing multiples on a daily basis. So
Right.
it's obviously a more advanced way, but not necessarily a more correct way.
Right. There's many ways, and it's learning. To me, it's learning about, say, that one element there. Look, it dropped in 2 weeks. It's dropped. Why did it drop? Kind of thing. Why did if you tested those things, it dropped and it changed, but you want to keep that element at a certain basis or a certain level. And that's what so you can actually fluctuate and see the fluctuation of the different elements that as you test. That's not like with Triton or with the DSR. You actually see how the corals are growing and how they to get that balance that you want to get. The stability that we're looking for. Everyone's wanting to get that stability so that your corals will grow properly. And it's interesting to me to see on a visual, graphy way that balance over a course of time.
Absolutely, it does. It makes it interesting. Especially, I'd say, once again, for us old salts in the hobby, one more idea to keep us interested.
Right.
Just another aspect that you can to learn. My signature on the forums is never too old to learn something.
Right.
Something new.
Yeah.
And I love to learn things.
Right.
And
that's what keeps you interested.
Try to stay open-minded enough to fully listen to an idea or a theory before I discount it, and often try it on my own. So.
Right. That's what we're here for, is to try the different ideas and share them out with everybody. And I hope you all enjoy this episode of Glenn Fong talking about his DSR calculator, and can get some great information from it. And we will see you next week. We'll have
absolutely be sure to follow his threads on Reef to Reef to get more detail on all this stuff. Is reiterated and 1,000 questions
and Glenn
asked and answered.
Glenn will answer any questions on the forum because he just loves to answer. He's busy remodeling a house like Todd is right now. Todd's remodeling his house, and so is Glenn. Glenn has a house in Holland that he's remodeling, and so this summer he's kind of like been slow on the forums. But I'm sure once he sees, I'll text him about being up, because I've had this in the can for quite a few months, and he's been very patient with me about getting this out to y'all. And also wanted to hopefully next podcast in 2 weeks we'll have Paul B, who will come on here and we'll do a little reef talk, or like click and clack the Tappet brothers, and talk about fun topics. And I hope to see you all that next time. Thanks. Bye
Sounds
bye.
good. I'll take care.
Record now. I'm recording it now. Would you want to step through a little bit of it for me and just show me? You show me what how the calculator works. Can you show me?
Okay. This is the calculator I designed
Uh-huh.
to control your water values. The calculator is designed for multilingual, so you can choose the language English or Dutch. You can calculate your water volume for your tank by just filling in the size like this, and it will calculate your total water volume. The total volume is calculated in here. And this volume can be used to fill in the calculator in here, like 1213. Let's see. The calculator has also the possibility to calculate gallons to liters, because my calculator uses liters to calculate everything. So for you guys in America, it's easy to translate to liters.
Right.
Further, the calculator is you can use it to fill in your name, because if you like to get support or something like that, then I can see whose calculator this is. Let's say this is Ed's calculator.
Okay.
Then you choose what you are going to do with the calculator, because it's possible with the calculator to mix your own water. In this case, if you like to make 1200 liters of water, which you actually won't do in this case, but it's possible, then you'll get here the weight of every supplement you need to put into the barrel to mix this volume of water. So in DSR you can custom make your own salt mix. Let's say we go to the main application, the correction of your tank parameters. Your tank is 1213 liters, and you do your measurements. Let's say your salinity is about 33. Then, depending on your target value, it will tell you how many NaCl you need to put into the tank to make it 34. I have designed the calculator to advise. It's a total system. It advises advanced reefers and beginners what they should do. It does everything for you. You only have to act. Right in here, you see for the pH, the target parameters, and how you measure it, preferably, are being set here. Salinity, target parameters, but also how many ppt per day you should change. Also, what device or testing device you should use, in this case a refractometer, and what time interval you need to do this measurements, preferably. In the case of KH is alkalinity. The target value is between 8 and 10, but some people believe it should be lower. In case you think it should be lower, you can change your target values. So you see, nothing is fixed. You can customize your own values. Now, so it goes on for every supplement I make.
Right. Yeah. You go through
It's very easy to use because I think the rest of it speaks for itself.
right.
Don't you think?
And you kind of figured out which one of the test kits work best for
Yes,
the type of
that's right. Because I've used a few test kits available here in Holland, and I found out that some tests have very deviating values. So I sorted out which ones are more accurate, so I use them.
right. It's not like the Triton where he's got it dead on. You can't really with hobby test kits. You can't really. They're close enough, I guess. You know.
It's close enough for the hobby because
Right.
you don't need to have to do everything exact because the corals accept a large range of deviation.
Right.
So and you need some base to start with. But if your test is very wrong or too much deviating, then you are starting the wrong way already.
Right.
So that's why it's very important to have test kits which are about right.
Right.
They are not so precise as a ECP OS, but it's good enough.
Right. As long as you know how to use them properly, which is
Of course.
yeah.
Because if you are colorblind, it will be very difficult.
And along the bottom, you have you got a calculator. This section here. Then it goes what the scheduler. Is that would be the next section you look at?
Yes. Let's say the scheduler. Oh, maybe this is something to see. Have to mention. I besides all the elements I add, I use iron, iron's chelate, and a carbon dosing to lower nutrients.
Right.
In the case of phosphate, let's say you have a phosphate R of 0.16, the calculator will warn you. It will tell you this is way too high.
Mm-hmm.
You see this alarm here?
I see the
And
alarm.
always also it will advise you to do iron dosing, and the iron dosing will be maximum 0.50 ppm per dosing, because above that it could be dangerous for your livestock.
Mm-hmm.
So I set a maximum dosing. These dosings I have tested out for on my own tank, real life. So it's usable.
Okay.
Let's see. But in this case, the advice is to build up the dosing, because you have to look how the livestock react to it. For that, I have this tab here, FE dosing, and the value of the let's see, the calculator say here for the iron dosing 0.15 ppm is about 9 milliliters for the value for the volume of 1213 liters tank. So then you go to the FE dosing, and it take over the 9.5 milliliters and calculate for you and how you should administer the dosing, and gradually build it up in 5 days.
Okay.
Just to watch your livestock how it reacts to the dosing.
Right.
Because if it could be, it can be possible. I'm very cautious that some very sensitive fish can react to it. But in my experience, and many Dutch people which use my system. I haven't heard of any problem yet with this method.
Now,
So,
do you recommend a certain time of a day to do the dosing, or
preferably at night, because if you use iron dosing, there can be a little haze in the water, and you don't want a haze in the water when you're watching the tank.
right?
So if you do it at night, you won't see it.
Okay.
The iron I have developed 2 iron mixes. One iron mix is just to remove phosphate out of the water. That was my first one, and the second one I call the FE trace. Here it is. The FE trace is just used as a trace element for iron, because in the case you don't have phosphate in your system because you removed it all, then and you want Fe as a trace element, you won't be using Fe plus, because it will remove every phosphate out of your system and make your system too low on nutrients. So in that case, you use a trace element. It has to be somewhat stronger chelation.
Okay.
That's why, because it is chelated more than the other Fe plus, it stays longer in the water column, and also don't remove phosphate that fast. Besides that, you use a lower quantity of it. Back to the phosphate. Here you can see how it works. In this case, you have a 0.16, and it warns you it's too high, and you have to do the iron dosing.
Right.
In the case you are on target, 0, because your target is 0.04, and if you are on target, it says nothing, because you don't have to do anything.
Correct.
In the case of too low on phosphate, let's say 0.02, then it advises you to dose phosphate itself, because I have in the program I dose phosphate when I have shortage, and I remove it with iron. So the calculator will advise you to do what. And furthermore, if you go too low, let's say 0.1, then it tells you alarm again, because it tells you you are too low. Your corals are going to dislike it. Okay. So in that case, you need to dose some phosphate. So I have built in some intelligence into the calculator, so beginners, but also advanced reefers, can get signals from mine findings.
Right.
Yes. Okay, that's about the phosphate. Because if you see here, your phosphate is too low, it also calculates your dosing, and it automatically calculates the target value for you. And target value is much lower than when you are removing phosphate. You see?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so the intelligence is built in all the things. Nitrate, same thing. In the case of low nitrates, I advise 2.5, and you have measured 0.5. Then it advises you to do 34.9 milliliters of nitrate into the system to just get it on that value. Are you having a higher value than you targeted? Then it will tell you to do carbon dosing. Carbon dosing is then translated to the carbon dosing table right in here. And depending on what volume tank you have to build up the dosing. Let's say you have a 1,000 liter tank, Then the week one, day 1 to 3 dosing will be 3 milliliters, and the day 4 to 7 dosing will be 6 milliliters, and so you go on this column.
Till you
I
reach
think it speaks for itself.
right. Till you reach where you should be.
Yes, you stopped zeg maar high up the dose when you reach your target and the nitrates start dropping.
Right.
So
then you would just keep it on whatever dose you left it at, like at 12.3 or whatever. Was that what you would do? Just keep it at that level until it's all the way nitrates all the way down.
yes,
Okay.
because if it starts going down, you better stop at that level, because otherwise you will overshoot. And then you have to dose nitrate again, because you don't want to do that. 1 week remove nitrate and the next week dose nitrate.
Right.
You have to do it gradually and try to. It's like driving a car. If you go on the highway, you start with 0, and then if you are on the highway, you want to drive, let's say 100 kilometers per hour. So you have to anticipate where you want to enter.
Right.
So
and then you go back to the calculator.
Back to the calculator. Now that's about it, I think. Everything is. Oh yeah. In case you have higher nitrate, and I have put that set point to 6, then above 6 I say it's a no-go. So I say alarm. And below 0.2 is also a no-go. So that's are my findings for what about the method I decide.
Right.
Okay, let's say you messed up the target values because you think this should be 7 and this should be about 2, and you don't know what to do anymore. And you can do 2 things. You can download the new calculator again, then you have the targeted value, or you just do reset target. Could not find access the value. I think you cannot find the macro. Let's see. Okay. Normally this should be working, but it will copy this table here.
Right. And put it over there.
Back to over there, yes. Right. So you can start all over again. Here below I have some description about let's say Ka plus may only be added after all salts are fully dissolved, because you don't want to dose in this alka or KH together with Ca, because then you get precipitation. So there are a few rules here you should read as a user. So that's, I think, about it. Oh yeah,
the scheduler. Yeah, the scheduler and the KH and MAG, you haven't looked at that, so.
Yes, the scheduler. It's just something to make it easy. This is also a calculator. You see, it has taken over it has copied the
values,
the volume in there, and you can set the target and the start values in here. That is an easy way to calculate what your day consumption is, because at a certain moment you will know that the KH will drop maybe a half point per day, or maybe 1 point per day. Then you can say, okay, I want to know what my day dosing is. In that case, I say let's say I want KH. Then I know it drops a half point a day. Then I know, let's see, start 8.0 and it started 7.5. Then you know that you have to adjust your system with 18.2 grams of KH plus. In this case, sodium bicarbonate.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing, a typical use is for calcium.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 5 to 10 points a day. So you can fill it in here, and you get your daily dosing calculated yourself.
Right.
That's the meaning of the use of the scheduler. You can calculate for yourself what you need to dose per day or per other time interval.
Have you?
If you have set this,
I was just saying, have you got a way of like doing a history of your readings over a course of a 6 months, a year, or whatever, to do a graph or anything like that with it, or how do you keep
uh,
that kind of readings?
at this moment, in this calculator that you see now,
Uh-huh.
it's not included yet, but I'm working on a new one, and there's a new tab, and you can copy the measurement from the calculator
Mm-hmm.
in here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a new button right here below the reset target, and it's called log the data,
Mm-hmm.
log the data,
Like a
and it will copy all the measured value in one time into the sheet.
right, so it knows like like this month it was this values, and then you can go back and see a trend or that kind of thing. That's what I was thinking of.
Yes, yes, it's possible because I'm working on that, but it's all being done as a hobby and in my spare time. So
Yeah,
uh,
that's
it
just
could take some time.
that's just a question I thought of when I was seeing how you were doing it. You're very good at using an Excel spreadsheet, that's for sure. Way better than
Uh, this thing, the Excel spreadsheet, 2 years ago, I didn't know anything about it.
uh-huh.
But because I want to use it, I start investigating and finding it out how to do it. And every time I learn something new.
Right.
It's like reefing. Every time I learn something new and I apply it.
Well, that's to me the fascinating thing about the reef hobby is there's always something new to learn. There's no you
Yes.
never. I see people. To me, what aggravates me is people that don't want to learn something new. More than anything, because they're just not they're going to keep repeating their mistakes over and over again. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you get people that say, they always ask the question where, like you say, you don't have to do water changes, but then I always ask them, then they'll say, well, you should do water changes, and I say, well, is there a formula that you can give me for this volume of tank that you should do this much water? And they'll say, no, you just have to look at there's no formula to give anybody as a new hobbyist what you should do. Should you do 10, 15, 20, 50, 100? That's
But up till now, nobody took the time to
right,
put it into writing
right,
or did something to help others. Uh, everything was doing Everybody was doing things for themselves.
right. And more
I
what I would call just seat of the pants kind of decisions. Like this is what you should do, and it's 10% a week. No matter what.
Yes, that's easy to explain because if you do water changes, it's safe for the most people because they don't want to think. So water changes works. It has proven itself
Right,
long enough, I think. But uh, in some extreme cases, if you look at my tank and you see the coral grow and the volume of coral compared to the water inside the tank, you would see it is a very massive amount of corals.
right.
I nearly don't have any water left, I think. So
It gets to
in
be where you don't have a lot of room to mess with stuff. You're always having to chopping things off with your tank. Especially that one big green coral you have keeps the wanting to keep growing up and up and up out of the tank.
Yes, I have fracked 3 times this year, and 3 full buckets of fracs came out of it.
It's just so much.
So it's crazy. It's growing like crazy.
It is growing like crazy. It likes your tank very much. That's for sure.
Yeah, I saw, if you look at it every day,
Mhm.
then you don't think of it as much. But people who see my pictures, they tell me, "Whoa, beautiful, extraordinary." Then you start realizing that you are doing something special. You know,
Right.
if you do it yourself, you don't really you don't really realize it. You're just doing it.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not paying it. You don't pay attention to it because it's just sitting there in your house, and you don't really pay attention to it like other people would come and go, "Whoa, look at this!" I remember when I came over here 6 months ago, and it was this little bitty thing, you know.
Yes, that is just what I mean.
Mhm.
If you see it every day, it's become common.
Right. Like the
Yeah,
cobwebs up in the corner.
yeah. Okay.
So that's pretty much how we would do it. This presentation like this, just like we just did it there, and
Yeah, it seems fun because I like the interaction
correct,
because if I'm feeling I'm talking to myself, it
correct.
won't work.
Right. I
So
know
if I
it's
get
hard for you
the
to do it like, I've seen your YouTube where you kind of walk through the steps, but it helps to have somebody else asking you a question and pulling, uh, get get the information and ask questions about how you're using your system. So,
Yes, I think it's very important for me to get the input
right.
because I like to tell people how it works. But if I'm sitting as a teacher in front of a room, I think I have big problems.
Yeah, you wouldn't. It's good to have the interaction, and I know you built the calculator values on interaction with your fellow hobbyists in Holland, and so that they
Right.
kind of kind of help you figure out what the values should be to know what you would be the best way to go. So it looks
Now,
great.
the values and the things like that are my own.
Hmm.
Most of it, because I'm a very stubborn person, you should know. So I have my own way, and I have decided some things are very different than most people think it should be. Because nobody in Holland have ever thought of adding nitrate and phosphate into their systems.
Hmm.
And up to today, if I tell people you should add some nitrate, they still are afraid to do that because everybody tell them they have to remove everything from it.
Right.
But the
It's
key
not.
of the success of my tank is just one of the part of it is adding nitrate and phosphate to it because I think the dynamics of the system is the system is very dynamical
Hmm.
and it moves all the time and you have to watch it what it's doing and steer it.
Hmm. So you steer it
You
the right.
can't just wait.
Yeah, it's a steering it in the right direction. You might be able to keep a tank like this going for a little while without any kind of steering, but it'll start crashing on you after a while.
Yes, of course, because I have seen tanks crash because they are just steering one way. Most people think I have to remove things and they start removing and they keep on removing till the tank die off.
Hmm.
So because many people think, okay, my tank is doing very poorly. Some people don't even measure their tank. So when the tank starts going bad, then they start measuring. But my belief is if you start measuring when the tank is going bad, you are running after effects
Right. Here.
because the reason why it starts crashing is already gone because when the crash starts it starts throwing all phosphate and nitrate into the water and in that case you are always measuring nitrate and phosphate.
Hmm.
So most people blame the nitrate and the phosphate, but the reason was maybe before that already.
Correct. I mean, a lot of people say, "Well, I never measure all these different chemicals,
Yes.
and all I do is measure KH once a couple weeks. Every couple weeks, I do that.
Yes.
Maybe once a month,
And
you
if
know."
and if you are lucky, it's going right all the time. But I say it's pure luck because I have seen it happening. Year after years, people are doing it, just not measuring. And but at a certain moment, then there comes the hit,
Yeah,
and then those people normally don't know what to do anymore because they never done anything.
right. They're already lost by the time that they get to the point because they don't even know how to use the test kits, and maybe the
Yes,
test kit's out of date. And
yes.
you said it, the reason why the tank crashed was maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. There was a decreasing element, and now it's just gotten to the point where it just blown up on you, and there's no way around it, you know. By the time,
That's my opinion because I think many people will disagree with me, but I have uh, I have seen things happening, and my tank as it is now, I have seen signals that I say, oh, if I don't do nothing now and I let it go, it would have crashed, and I'm for sure if I haven't done anything to it.
mhm,
So by steering it and by measuring it with intervals, you are monitoring your system. That makes it very manageable if you see the system is moving one way, because before it gets worse, you can interact,
correct,
and that's the key to success, I think.
right. Because
But
sometimes
many people think,
they can just look at the tank and see what's wrong with it. You know, probably so I could just tell by this one coral acting up that's what's going on, and it might not be anything at all. You know, if you're trying to gauge it off one coral acting a certain way, you know, that they may.
no, because the strange thing is corals have sometimes similar signals for low phosphate also as high phosphate. So you cannot only look at one coral and say this is wrong, because I have in my tank at this moment 180 species, and that's a very good way of looking on your tank health, because there are 180 parameters helping you.
Right,
How more coral species you have, the more parameters you have to look at.
right.
I
Because
think most people have about I think about 40 to 90 species in their tank. I guess most of them,
hmm
because I think if you look at the diversity, I have ladders, soft corals, discosomas, every species you can and uh, and subspecies you can find back in my tank.
you've tried to get all the different ones you can think of, right?
Yes, I try to get everything I can get my hand
You
on
had
because uh,
I remember you said you had a one of those was it the feather starfish or the one starfish
I
that you had?
I had one starfish, a yellow one with a black spine,
Uh-huh.
and I have kept it for about 8 to 9 months
Mhm.
alive. I
You
know
were feeding a lot.
very few people keep them alive.
You were feeding the tank a lot to keep track of see what would happen when you fed the tank a whole lot. I remember you posting something about that. So
Yeah,
uh,
yes, yes. I tested and stressed my tank to see how far can I go,
right,
because I can manage anything. I am not afraid to say, let's say today I feel like feeding about 40 grams of food.
hmm
I'm not afraid that my phosphate and my nitrates will become too high, because I can manage it. Most people are panicking if they think they don't want to feed too much, but I don't really care. If someone tell me just drop about 50 grams or 60 grams of food in it, I will do it. I show you. I can do it.
Yeah, and well, it'll also, I mean, that heavy food load also not only helps, say, that starfish, but also helps the corals in the tank as well in the long run. You know, from extra feeding of food, other than just,
Some corals,
yeah,
some corals benefited
hmm,
from it,
get
yes.
some benefit from
But
that.
I
Helps.
but I think the most benefit they have are from the higher nutrients I keep,
Right.
because that keep my coral growing.
Hmm.
I don't have the zeophyte colors because I keep higher nutrients, but I do keep all species alive and thriving, and that's my main focus.
Correct.
Because if I start going low nutrient or ultra low nutrient, I'm for sure that some will die.
Correct.
That's for sure.
Because not all corals need low nutrient system.
Yes, because if you look at the ultra low nutrient system, you see that they don't keep many LPS in it.
Hmm.
It's all LPS, and most of it acroporas and steloporas.
Right. Correct.
So I have studied that and I've looked at other systems and say I have let's say mm, I have related some things to one another.
Hmm. It's good.
So so you have to make choices. So what tank are you looking for? The nice thing about it is you don't have to use a certain system to go ultra low nutrient, because you can use my calculator also to go ultra low nutrients, because you just use more carbon dosing and more iron to go low nutrients,
Hmm.
and you just you have to find another mean to feed the coral without getting your nutrients too high. But it's also true that when you do carbon dosing,
Hmm.
you get a bacterial plankton,
Right.
and bacterial plankton is food for your coral.
Right. Well,
So that's yeah.
that's great. Well, I think it's come out pretty good. I'll get you a copy of this recording so you can see how you did and see how make sure everything you're happy with how you presented it, and then we'll just do
Okay.
this again. I'll set it up a time. It'll probably I'm looking like for a Sunday afternoon, since I could get more people to show up or be there for the official.
Sunday is fine, because Sunday most of the time I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now it's getting winter time and you're not out riding on your jet skis and stuff.
Yes, that's no time for jet skis because it's crazy cold in here.
Yeah, it's cold and rainy here in Louisville, Kentucky, so I know it's probably the same there. So I'll send you to this. I'll send you this later on tonight. I'll put it in that Dropbox folder, and I'll send you the link to it, and you can watch it yourself. Okay?
Okay,
And thank you
thanks.
very much, Glenn, for getting this going. I'm really excited. I want to really get the hobbyists to get your information and get other informations from other hobbyists and marine scientists around the world. So I'm looking to get this
Okay.
really great fun thing to have done. Okay.
Yes.